On this episode of the Dudes and Dads podcast, we're talking with Jeff Fajans about being a creative parent.
You're listening to the Dudes and Dads podcast, a show dedicated to helping men be better dudes and dads by building community through meaningful conversation and storytelling. And now, here are your hosts, Joel DeMott and Andy Lehman.
Andy,
Joel.
hi.
Hi, how's it going?
You know, not bad for a Monday.
A Monday?
It's not Monday.
It's not Monday.
You're on it.
Oh,
You're on it, buddy. You were concerned.
I was like, wait, I'm doing this wrong.
What day is it? Hey, doing well, man. We're fully in school mode now. Both of us, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're both in full school mode?
We are. We're my kids are all fully back. Yours are all fully back.
Fully back. Let's just be honest. Can we be honest about that? I'm going to be honest about it. I want you to match my level of honesty with your level of honesty about returning to school.
All right, shoot.
It's glorious. It absolutely
is
glorious. I could not have driven those kids to school any faster.
But you know what, though? I'm glad that the week was only a half week and not a full
You're
one.
able to
because
ease in. Yeah.
by like Thursday, it was like pulling teeth to get kids out of bed. And it was just,
Every year, Andy, we try to start the back to school schedule process sooner. That is getting bedtimes back earlier and in line with their leaving in the morning. Every time we feel like, okay, we're going to do it this year. And we made a real valiant attempt this year. And I will say it was slightly better, but still, I'm with you. The kids are not popping quite out of bed like I'd like them to. So I don't really know what to do other than
a bucket of cold water.
A bucket of cold water. Plastic sheets, bucket of cold water.
Perfect.
Kids, until you can get up in the morning, you need to sleep in a swimming pool because I will be dousing you in the morning. So, but we're back to school. We're grateful for it.
We are.
And we're wishing all of our educators, all of our bus drivers, all of the people at the schools, I'm wishing them good luck. That's because they're getting my kids, and that's a whole range of things that they're encountering. So we're grateful for you, teachers. Good luck this year. Hopefully it's a normal year. Like
yes.
it being just normal. That's all I'm calling for. Just a normal year.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, Joel. So we have had some feedback about a previous episode. It was not way back, but a couple episodes back. We got the feedback right away, but I kind of forgot about it until I was looking through my mail, and I did not want to forget.
But our friend Jonathan sent us in something, and let me just say, as I was reading through this feedback, Andy, the level of insight, the level of care and thoughtfulness that Jonathan offered up, unparalleled, quite honestly.
Oh yeah, he had. Here's his
I'm really
feedback.
Talking it up.
Here's his feedback. So he said, I really enjoyed listening to your latest episode about Colin Yoder. So reminder, Colin Yoder is the funeral director.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I've always wanted to ask him some of these questions as well, especially after doing some work as a contractor on their funeral home. He is a stand-up guy who is also one of the best dressed dudes and dads around.
He is dapper, super dapper.
And he agrees he's also a great, I agree he's also a great teacher of the world. Thanks for his interest and insight into his profession. And then he says, I have to say, it's pretty evident why people aren't interested in joining the funeral business. I hear it's a dying industry.
That's a hardcore dad joke.
Oh, yeah. That's
wow, Jonathan.
That's, yeah, one of those things that
dying
Thanks,
industry.
Jonathan.
Well done. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Well, hey, before we go any further, we always want to thank those people that are helping support this podcast. So the Dudes and Dads podcast is supported by Everence Financial, helping individuals and organizations combine faith and finances through asset management, charitable giving, and other financial services. More at everence.com/Michiana. Securities offered through Concourse Financial Group Securities Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC.
Well, thanks, Joel, for that. Tonight we have an interesting guest who comes to us, Jeff Fajans. So I want to welcome Jeff to the show. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Here we go, Jeff. Hi. Hello,
hey,
Jeff. Hi.
How's it going, guys? Can you hear me all right?
We can. Yes, thanks.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk a little bit with Jeff. I'm stumbling my words tonight. It's a Monday, right, Joel?
It's a great day for a Monday.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk with Jeff a little bit because Jeff is a creative dude. And we like creative dudes. We're creative. We do this podcast.
We dabble in creativity.
We think we're creative, I guess. But Jeff is truly creative. He has been, so Jeff is a coach. He's a creator and a leader who helps other creators and entrepreneurs bring their biggest ideas to life. So let's start real quick, Jeff, with your dad stats. If you can tell us how many kids you have, your wife, what do you do for a living, those type of things.
Yeah. I have one crazy, energetic son. He's 3.5. His name is Hendrix. He's awesome. And he gets back on preschool on Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to it. He's been off 2 weeks.
And that's long enough. Yeah. That's long enough.
Yeah. It's definitely long enough. But yeah, he's a awesome little guy. I've been married to my wife, Catherine, the most beautiful, amazing, awesome woman in the world. She'll probably be listening to this.
Attaboy.
We've been married about 5.5 years. We met in California, and now we are living in the Denver, Colorado area, loving it, really loving just the outdoors, just the community that we're creating out here. As a family, we love exploring, adventuring, hiking, getting outdoors, being active. My son's really into a lot of sports lately, really into music and art classes. So it's been a lot of fun. It's a fun age for us right now as parents.
Yeah, and you're, living up the Denver way. Here's the honest truth, and I know this because my brother's out there. You just get to pick your own weather. That's what it is. You just get to decide on any given day, do I want snow? Do I want sunshine? Do I want somewhere in between? You can just stop in your car and you can just drive to whatever climate you want, almost. And it's magical. Unfortunately, Jeff, I feel like many people are figuring out the magic of the Denver area, and that's why it costs $1 bajillion to live there. So I'm just glad you're not homeless, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm just glad you've got a place and you can live, because people are figuring it out. Denver is where it is at. That whole area, good times. We try to be out there at least once a year, and thankfully. Southwest flies real cheap from Chicago out to Denver. So it's nice. It's good. Good. So Jeff, Andy, when we were talking about this show, and he was like, dude, you gotta check this out. You gotta check this guy out. And I'm like, and anytime Andy says that, I listen. So I'm really interested in, just the idea of, just in general, the creativity that you bring to life. And then specifically the idea, because what Andy said, this was Andy's pitch to me. This is how he said it. He goes, Jeff has done, he's recorded albums for his kid, and he's sort of like Beastie Boys for kids. This is what he said. And immediately, I don't know, I just went in, I just started singing Sabotage immediately. Just went off the rails real quick, forgot where I was, and I was like, that alone right there, I just had a visceral reaction. I said, I need to know more. I need to have a talk with this guy. Let's get him on. And so here you are. So I just want to know how that whole whole
let's
thing.
talk about that.
Yeah.
How did you come out with the idea of Beastie Boys, that sound, and then what you're doing with that to be creative as a parent? Oh, hold on, I got him muted. Technology fails. All right, there we go. Try it again.
There you go.
Sabotage. Yeah, so BC Boys for Babies, it actually, someone else coined it. So I was pitching some of these crazy kids music songs to this music supervisor executive, and she made the comment, hey, it's like Beastie Boys for Babies. What is this? And I was like, I love that. So I use that when I'm sharing that with anyone else or pitching it. But the music came about, I'm a musician. I was trying to make it as a musician a long time ago, around undergrad college days. Didn't work out. It was the lead singer's fault. I'm the guitar player. Always singer's fault. The band doesn't work, right? But so music was always a big part of my life. But after these bands of mine not working out, got caught up in the real world and corporate America, and just, you just get more and more responsibilities. Music took a backseat a little bit in my life. But when my wife was pregnant, got me thinking, hey, I need to bring this music back. This is important to me. I'm passionate about it. It's who I am. It gives me fulfillment and engagement and meaning in my life. And it sparks my creativity. And I want my son to have these values and these experiences too. I want to role model being creative and doing things that I want to do for him, and just being the best version of myself for my son. So it got me really into music again, listening to all my favorite artists. I have huge influences like Jimi Hendrix and hip hop and funk and jazz, just everything, like just an eclectic mix of stuff. I grew up playing in all these different bands. So when I create music, it's like a mix of everything I love. And I wanted to create music again, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. Luckily, when my son was born, he was just freaking hilarious. And we were just cracking up all the time. He had such a funny personality from the get-go. Being new parents, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. So there was just so many funny experiences and moments and memories and developmental phases. And then it clicked. Like hey, I can capture some of these funny moments into songs, and that's my outlet. I can have a creative outlet writing these crazy songs about my son with music I like, and putting a new spin on kids' music that I think is more authentic and raw and true to the real attitude and swagger and determination and stubbornness of little kids like growing up, not the rinky dinky doopy 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 traditional kids music, right? That was driving me crazy listening to. So that's how it came about. And just naturally, just all the influences that I have and the vocal limitations in my singing range. Like most of the songs I'm kind of rapping or they're kind of bluesy-ish. It comes out sounding like this hip-hop rock funk mix, like Beastie Boys for babies.
Sure.
So that's
awesome.
how it comes about.
That's awesome. So I've seen your Instagram and I've seen your son there with you doing creating some beats. Is he involved in the process of when you're creating these albums too?
Yeah, I mean, he's the inspiration. Right? Everything stems from something he says or something he does in some way or some stage he's going through, some funny moments he's going through. So he's definitely the inspiration, right? I couldn't have come up with the song Phantom Poop without him. That period of time when they're, in year one, you think they have a dirty diaper. You're sure they have a dirty diaper. Then you go to change them. There's nothing there. It's the Phantom Poop, right?
Oh man,
I couldn't have come up with that without him. So any of the stuff, right? So he's the inspiration for sure. But I'm also testing all the songs and melodies and hooks as I'm writing it, just to make sure, he's bobbing his head to it, or the lyrics, he's memorizing them a little bit, or he's able to sing them, and he's singing them later in the car when it's not playing. Like I know it's catchy. It's that earworm in his in his head. So yeah, I'm testing everything on him. He's the inspiration, and yeah, I mean, he loves to hang out when I'm mixing and playing, bang on the keyboard, strum a guitar in the background, or get on the mic and pretend like he's Mick Jagger. He loves Mick Jagger and just the high pitched shrills and screams. So I'll try to capture him singing some of the songs or adding little parts to them and insert them in surprising places in the songs that add some extra interestingness and catchiness to the songs. But yeah, he's definitely involved in the process. It's a lot of fun seeing him get into things and seeing what he likes and what he doesn't like. And yeah, I couldn't do it without him.
So Jeff, when you think about like the other dads that Andy and I mean, one of the big reasons that we even do this show is like we kind of have this desire for a creative outlet, but as in the life of a parent and the life of a person, as a professional and all of that, it's like your margin for time and creativity and that can feel really kind of suppressed in a lot of ways. What do you feel like parents, because I think everybody's got some level of, people say like, oh, I'm not creative. I think everyone has some level or some expression of creativity in them somewhere. do you feel like parents, like once they start having kids, they like, it's like they have to suppress that creativity, or they kind of push it to the side, and then they're like, well, maybe I'll get back to that someday. I mean, and did you feel that way to a certain degree when you entered into parenthood?
Yeah, I think one, that does happen to a lot of parents. You just get busier. Things are unpredictable. They're hectic. You're tired. You're trying to coordinate things between you and your partner and your kid and just other activities. So it definitely becomes harder to express yourself creatively and follow your creative passions and pursuits and bring your ideas to life. It's just, there's just not as much time. Your energy can be lower. You're scattered. For me, it actually almost had the opposite effect. I felt like before my wife was pregnant, I was getting into that rut. Like music was becoming less and less a part of my life. I was doing things that like I should be doing or have to do, kind of just the day-to-day regular job responsibilities. And, you know, I wasn't as committed to my creative pursuits as I am now. And I attribute a lot of that to my son, right? Like that really, for me, at least, it sparked something inside of me. It really woke me up. It shook me saying, hey, like, are you living your values or not? Like, are you doing the things you want to do? Are you being courageous? Are you being creative? Are, you know, like, what are you doing or what are you not doing? And to me, that's woke me up and almost strengthened my commitment to my creativity, especially after I started doing the music and growing my coaching business. And just when he was around, it, I just, my conviction and commitment feels stronger than it's ever been, because I am a dad. Because one, you know, like you want to provide for your family, but two, like I want to be a good role model for him. Like I want him to see that no matter how busy things get or how tired you get or other responsibilities and chaos and unpredictable stuff's happening in life, that no, you really can, if you decide to commit to something creative, something that you want to do, whatever it is, whether it's music or a podcast or writing a book or starting a business, like you can commit to that. You can bring it to life little by little, 10, 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, finding the time, creating the time, protecting the time, and just trying to build up that momentum to do something meaningful for yourself. So that was really important for me. I wanted my son to see that. So when he grows up, when he wants to do something and it's going to be challenging and it's like, how am I going to do this? I don't have time, yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, well, my dad, he found a way, right? I can find a way, you know, even if it's just not even if it's not the ideal situation where I'm just doing it 24/7, I'm going to find those pockets of time. I'm going to break things down and I'm going to make progress consistently towards like these creative goals of mine. So yeah, so that's kind of my experience with parenting. Just it really woke me up. And I think just with the events of the pandemic and things going remote, it was just like a huge wake up call. And some other family events happened that were traumatic. And it really was like, I don't know, almost like a converging experience where it was just like this big wake up, like, hey, you got to do those creative things you say you want to do. And you got to live more purposefully with what you're doing and do that for yourself and for your family.
Yeah. It seems that so many times I think we as parents, as dudes and dads, see like when we see our kids as an obstacle or an impediment to starting new things or to re-energizing things that are important to us. And obviously, you know, I'm always very, very cautious about, you know, my children being the thing. Like I'm not living for my kids, you know, it's like, but I am trying to lead them and guide them and all the things that you said, Jeff. It's like set examples before them, that there's a legacy of intentionality there and that, and all of that. But I think so many times it's like kind of the pop culture, response to children is like, well, there goes your life, bro. You know, and then maybe you can re-engage in when you hit your midlife crisis and you get them all out of the house, you can re-engage in all kinds of behaviors that may or may not be helpful to you. But you know, that'll be your time to shine later on, someday later. And it's like, what a wasted. I mean, it's just a wasted opportunity, I think, for so many of us, as opposed to, and I would say, as I look across the table to Andy here, I think. When I look at like Andy and you and your kiddos, it's like you guys have all, I think, come together, and something that I'm even trying to be more intentional about, of saying, like, what are we into as a family, and then let's just like experiment with all the different things that can be done with interests and with things like that. And you know, Andy's got he's a father of 5, and I'm a father of 4, and I don't know. So, not to scare you, Jeff, and I don't know what your future family plans are. There's not a single one of my kids that's into the same thing. Not a single one. Not a single. And I think you guys are pretty much the same, right?
Right.
Like,
But I think that you find the time to engage each one with something that they like. And so that's one of the things that I liked about what you're doing, Jeff, is, you know, obviously your kid is really young, but you're training him up, and like, hopefully he's, you know, ends up liking music stuff too. But either way, you're still kind of you're involving him in this process, and, you know, he gets to hang out with you, you know, like you said, sometimes when you're doing it, and then it's also about things that he's done or said that kind of involve him in that. And so, yeah, you get creative with however you can to spend time with your kids, and I like it.
Yeah.
What Jeff, is you're talking about creativity, because obviously there's a and we want to kind of explore the full realm of who Jeff is really here. But so you've got the music side, and that's really been inspired a lot by being a dad and those whole experiences. But then there's other stuff that you do. So I would to, for the sake of our listeners and all of that, like, what, because you have put together for yourself, well, there's clearly an entrepreneurial spirit here. And so if I know anything about entrepreneurs, you're dabbling a lot of things. You got a lot of irons in the fire, as they say. So I'd love for you to tell us about, what exactly is it you do, sir?
Yeah, so I call myself a coach, but like you said, it involves a lot of different things. So I do work with creators and entrepreneurs primarily, and small business owners, leaders that are looking to grow their business or scale their impact, bring more creativity to their teams. My background is in talent and organization development, so I did similar coaching and consulting and leader development programs and initiatives in the workplace. Now I'm doing that on my own and just externally. So any given day, it could be like one-on-one coaching. I run a group for creators. It's a global community called the 30-Day Creative Momentum Challenge. And this is for busy people, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, filmmakers, anyone with a creative goal that wants to build up a consistent creative practice or make consistent progress on one of these big ideas that they have in their mind that they want to actually make happen. So running that, I do some speaking engagements, some workshops, have some courses out there online that people can access with some of my methodologies around creative momentum, where you can really clarify your creative vision for your business or your creative projects, amplify your motivation, create actionable strategies and systems and habits that will, regardless of whatever your situation is, whether you have 10 minutes a day or 5 hours a day to work on your creative goals, that you can create some momentum deliberately and get to that point where it's inevitable that whatever you're doing is going to happen. So it's a lot of stuff, like you said, but primarily like this, the soul is helping people activate their creativity, feel confident in pursuing these entrepreneurial ventures and things that no one's really telling them they have to do, but they want to do it. It's meaningful to them. They're overwhelmed. They're unfocused. They're doubting themselves. But, with the coaching and the different programs that I use to partner with these people, they build that creative confidence. They build that action plan. They get to that place where they know that their goals are going to happen. And it's it's a lot of fun. So, I mean, some of my clients are filmmakers, some are like building startups, some are writing books. In this group, there's musicians, there's someone that I never came across before, or this type of person. They build puppets for movies.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, it's just like it's awesome. I get to connect with the diversity of people, and it's it's interesting because we all have those same struggles and challenges that get in the way of making our creative ideas happen. So it's really rewarding to help people get that momentum and actually have them complete these ideas. Get them out of their head and out into the world.
Yeah, from your experience and what you say, I think about the kind of the entrepreneurial person. What do you think is, because there is a particular kind of there's a skill set for that, but there's a personality that frequently that kind of falls in that line. For the average entrepreneur, what do you think is their biggest obstacle in taking the next step in whatever they're trying to develop? Where do you see the roadblocks happen for a lot of them?
Yeah, it's definitely maybe two things. So one is the entrepreneurial creative mind. We're naturally generating tons and tons of ideas and options and possibilities. We're generally good at seeing that grand vision and imagining that and almost experiencing that just in our minds. Like,
sure.
Oh, this is awesome. We could do all these things. It's going to be great. But, like when they go to make it happen, it almost immediately becomes overwhelming, paralyzing. There's too many possibilities, too many options, too many ideas, too many projects going on. There's just the focus, the commitment. It's not there 100% where, and it makes sense. Like, we're creative. We want things to be fun. And so we may start something for a week, and then it gets a little bit less fun. And then we want to say, oh, that's not the one for me. Like, we're going to try this one now. And we're jumping across all these ideas, and we're not really making meaningful momentum on anything just because we're scattered, we're unfocused. So that's kind of the double-edged sword of the creative brain. Like, we're great, the big picture thinking, generating tons and tons of options and possibilities and ideas. But then when we have to make them happen, it's like, where do we start? Oh, there's 10 different things. Oh, this isn't right. Like, this isn't right. Oh,
right.
Like, it just becomes a mess. So people need help with their decision making a bit, just committing, focusing, and adding just like the right amount of structure and systems to their lives that helps with the momentum and helps complement their strengths and counterbalance it if you will. So that overwhelm, that just all over the placeness, that is probably the most common thing I see. And then just the next one is just like, comes down to creative confidence or imposter syndrome, right? Like, they're taking on, they're trying to reach their next level of creative success. They've had some success before, but now they're trying to do this new thing, this bigger thing. And that can be very paralyzing. Like, can I do it? Oh, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. All these limiting beliefs start coming up, and, talk yourself out of it. And so there's a lot of different things, but I think most of them stem from those general experiences psychologically.
Sure. Yeah. So what happens when, let's say, your kid, Hendrix, gets old enough that he's like, hey, Dad, stop. Like, I'm embarrassed by you now because you're creating all this stuff about me. It's like that whole, like, I'm going to show them the video, or, I'm going to show them pictures of you when they were younger. Like, you can do that with your songs. But what happens then? Like, if he gets to the point where he says, hey, Dad, I want you to stop. Like, is there something else that you've got planned, maybe that you can switch out this with and do something different?
Yeah. I always think about that. I'm always wondering, how old is he going to be when he says, Dad, come on, man, that's too many songs about me. It's getting personal. My friends are hearing it. We're following you on Instagram. This is embarrassing now. Like, come on. Yeah. So I'm wondering when that's going to be. But that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to fit in as much now as possible with that. And then when that does happen, who knows what he's going to be into. But I see myself, shifting more into a facilitator or trying to coach him, help him do some creative things himself, right? Like maybe I become more of a behind the scenes producer for whatever he's doing, or maybe I'm producing some of his albums or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. But for me, I think also though too, like just personally, I still will be creating music.
Sure.
I haven't been in a band for a bit, but something I'm going to get into again soon. But yeah, I mean, music is just always going to be part of my life now. So it may just shift into creating music for other mediums or maybe podcast themes or maybe just, who knows? Yeah. But I'll be playing, I'll be jamming and creating myself still in some way.
I think at bare minimum, we'll just hope for that Hendrix is musically gifted and just a dad son band. I just started today following this. It was on one of my feeds on Instagram. There's a guy. He's a grown adult, and he has parents that I would put them in their we'll say early 60s. He started his own family band. He taught his mom to play the drums and taught his dad to play in their later years. Taught him to play. He's a guitar player and vocalist, and dad learned to play the bass. And they cover their Instagram feed is them covering these classic rock songs, and it's cool. A banger. And when like mom, the deal is, dude, I think she had a drummer's heart her entire life, which just goes to show you, like, these things can be suppressed in a person, and she's like at the age that normally somebody would not be taking up a new instrument. And here she is, man, she's just rocking out. And, wow. So, maybe that's a thing. So for some of our listeners, you're like, it's never too late. It's never too late to start. And, maybe just you shift gears a little bit later, but yeah.
I love that. Yeah. You have to send me the link. I will.
So yeah, we'll definitely send it to you. I was like, this is for real. So yeah, I think, if, well, here, since we do have a coach on the show, I think the other important question is for people that are out there, Jeff, that say, hey, I'm not creative. I'm not creative. I don't have a creative bone in my body. I'm just boring. I'm lame. I'm just me. And that's it. Do you think that there is some sort of, we'll call it an exercise or an exploratory exercise or something that someone could go into to find their creativity? Because we are kind of operating from the assumption that everyone has some sort of creative thing going on or capability. For the person that maybe is trying to explore that a little bit, what would you put out to them? What would you recommend, suggest, maybe something that they could try?
Yeah, so I think first you want to shift your mindset. So my belief is everyone is creative. It's not a question of whether or not you're creative. It comes down to how are you creative? So some people may be naturally gifted at the big picture, crazy idea thinking, lots of ideas, a lot of options generating. But then some people may be better at developing ideas or building off the ideas of others, or other people may be skilled and creative in a way where they're gifted at selling ideas. Sure. So first, like the creativity, it's not the stereotypical thing, this wild and crazy person that does art or music or writing. Like creativity is an orientation, and it can be applied to any domain. And it's really just more how you approach life and work, right? You're trying to like see new possibilities for what something could be. You're looking for more opportunities to do something better or different or add new value. So like anyone can do these things, right? It's just that frame of mind of how you're approaching whatever it is you're doing. It's like, how can I do this differently? How can I have more fun with this? How can I be more original? Like what, and maybe even too, just like, how can I add my own personal spin to this? How do I infuse this with my own authenticity and bring my personality to life? So it doesn't mean you have to be musical or artistic or, you're naturally gifted at sculpting right? It's just like it's more that orientation. So that's the first thing. Second, there are some practical things you can get into, like around exploring your passions and strengths, just being really self reflective around what are you curious about, what are you naturally interested in, and things that you want to learn about or want to develop, not like that you should, right? Like that's, if you want to ask yourself, what do I want to do? If you just keep asking yourself, what do I truly, authentically want to do? You're going to get to some part of you where you want to express yourself creatively, right? Like a lot of us are conditioned in this should, like, oh, I should do this and I need to do that and I have to do this, and just, react to life instead of be proactive and authentic. So that's another frame of mind. One practical tool out there that anyone can explore is, taking something like the Strengths Finder, the Gallup Strengths Finder. This will give you a report on like your top 5 strengths, given, everyone has a unique set of top 5 strengths, and these can give you clues as to what energizes you, where your talents lie, where your creativity can be expressed. So I would recommend doing something like that as well. But yeah, I mean, everyone is creative in my standpoint. It's not a matter of whether or not, it's how. So like, you have those talents, you have certain skills that you're good at and energize you. That's the pathway towards uncovering like your own creativity.
Gotcha. Well, hey, yeah, I think everyone is creative too, and I appreciate your what you just said there as far as how to develop that, because I think a lot of times people don't necessarily realize that they are creative or can be creative. They leave that to those of us who would do like creative arts type things like podcasting and music and photography and things like that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, as we like to, as we wrap up every interview, we can never let a guest leave our presence, in person or virtually, without subjecting them to the end of our show segment. So here we go.
Now it's time for the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz.
All right. So if you've never joined us, the Pop Quiz is just a time where we just pepper Jeff with some questions that come. I'm grabbing my questions out of this deck right here, the pod decks. It's questions. Joel's got some on his paper, so I'll go ahead and go first. This is Joel. This is the one that we always get. That I'm skipping that one.
Okay, bingo. Some of the questions are really, quite honestly, Jeff, they're a little dark. They're a little dark, and we're just trying to keep it peppy, trying to keep it upbeat and peppy.
So, all right. So, what book belongs on everyone's bookshelf?
Yeah, so we're talking about creativity. The thing that got me on my pathway was connected with music, creativity, living the good life, is Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So if you look him up on Amazon or just look up that book, his last name is the only one weirder than my last name.
Solid.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, hey, what's the best trip, that's as far as travel is concerned, that you have ever been on?
Yeah, the best trip was before my son was born. My wife and I did about a 15, 16-day trip across Italy. So we went to Rome, went to Positano on the Amalfi Coast, Florence, Venice. It was amazing. Just so much good food, so much good wine, good grappa, good limoncello, really awesome people. It was an amazing experience.
All right. So who would play you in a movie?
Oh, yes.
Who would play me in a movie? That's a good question. Never thought about that. I would, who's out there these days? Maybe, who would, I'm not up to speed as much as I should be. Maybe, maybe Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
Okay. All right. Yeah, good one.
That tracks. I like it. Jeff, if you could name your favorite grocery item while shopping locally, what would it be?
Favorite grocery item? I gotta get the ground beef. I love burgers.
Oh.
He's a meat man, so take whatever, again, it tracks, it makes sense. But, take whatever you will. You're like, oh, Jeff, he's one of these creative types. I bet he's into soy. No. Thank you.
Into the beef.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the beef.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Gotta have the burgers.
All right. So what do you value most in your friends?
Most in my friends is authenticity. I like to see people's vulnerabilities, like to see what they're really into. I want to try to encourage that in my friends too. Just live an authentic, meaningful, fulfilling life. That's what I look for, is that integrity.
Good. All right, Jeff, if you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, from your smartphone, which ones would you keep? And maybe these 3 apps have changed your life. Maybe or maybe not. But what are you keeping?
Yeah, so I'd keep the Voice Memos app. That's where I capture a lot of my song ideas and notes to myself when I'm playing with my son or out and about, and I want to capture a funny saying or experience that I can use in a song, or just general notes to myself about what I'm trying to do. So Voice Memos is one. I guess another one would be just Gmail. So I use that a lot.
That's fair.
And then what else? What else is on there? Those 2 probably would be my primary ones. Let me just look at my phone real quick. Hold on. Oh yeah, probably HBO Max, just so I can watch some shows.
There we go. Just an occasional show. That's good.
All right. So my last question for you: which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
Yeah, it's got to be Jimi Hendrix, my number one all-time favorite musician and innovator. Definitely would love to bring him back from the dead so he could play when I'm dead. That'd be cool. But yeah, definitely Jimmy.
Okay. So my final question here, Jeff, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Always wanted to be a rock star. Always wanted to play music, guitar. Can't pull it up right now, I don't think. But there was just a funny picture of me as a baby holding a little plastic guitar, just pointing like I'm doing, like I just played an awesome guitar solo. But I always wanted to be out creating, writing music, playing, just having fun, innovating some way. So we'll see how far I can get with the Crazy Kids music. It might be a smaller audience, but it's still fun. It's all about.
You're still living the dream, man. You're still living the dream. Well, hey, Jeff, congratulations! Yep. You have successfully completed the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz.
Nice,
way to go!
Where can people find you at?
Yeah, Jeff, give us all the details where people can connect with you. And we will, by the way, as always, we will put all this info in the show notes over at dudesanddadspodcast.com on this episode. But tell us about where people can connect with you.
Sure. So my website, jefffajans.com, is a great place to find me and more about my coaching programs and services. For my music, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Instagram. I'm create under the artist name Mr. Boodaddy. So look that up. There'll be some links there. You'll see a crazy rock and roll ghost. Actually originated from, the Mr. Boodaddy name actually originated from my high school, like AOL Instant Messenger name.
Nice.
Nice.
Brought it back. That's
a throwback. I love it.
I don't even know where it came from back then, but yeah. So Mr. Boodaddy is where you can find my music. And then, if you're interested in exploring your creative side and bringing some more creative, bring more creative outlets or a project to life, something you have in your head or your heart that you want to make happen that you've been putting off, check out this course on Domestika. It's called How to Achieve Your Creative Goals. Super affordable, but it's really a powerful course. They'll introduce you to some of the systems and coaching tools I use. And if you put it into action, you will be on the way to making something meaningful happen for yourself. So
awesome.
That Domestika course, How to Achieve Your Creative Goals. But that's where you can find me. And shoot me an email, shoot me a message. I'd love to interact with everyone. If you have a funny song idea, something crazy your kid's doing, let me know. Take a video of it, take a picture, just share the hook with me. Maybe it'll spark something inside me and I'll make it a song. But
That's awesome.
Awesome.
yeah, just connect with me. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, as always, guys, we thank you for checking us out on yet another episode. And you can head it over to dudesandadspodcast.com for all the juicy details on every episode. And dudesandadspodcast@gmail.com for any show ideas, feedback, all that good stuff. We'd love to hear back from you.
We do.
So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yes, Joel, and we love our voicemail too. So 574-213-8702 is our voicemail number. Until next time, guys, grace
And peace.
Thanks, guys.